Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode number 6 of the Wired Nerdy podcast. My name is Keith. I'm here with my good friend Doug. Doug, how you doing this week?
I'm doing great. Good to see everybody come back.
Yeah, we really appreciate everybody joining us. We're having a blast doing this. We have some awesome episodes coming down the way. That'll be more than just Doug and I having awesome conversations about cool topics. We've got some really cool stuff later on in the show. We'll talk about what's coming down the pipeline for everyone to enjoy. If you are interested in this podcast, we encourage you to try to subscribe to us on your platform of preference. We are on all the major platforms, you name it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Doug. We've got ourselves some Spotify. We've got Google Podcasts. We got Apple Podcasts. We got iHeart Radio. Oh, there's more. We're on Anchor. There's so many
Yep.
of them, right? If you like video, it posts on Spotify video, and then also, of course, YouTube as well. So there's all kinds of options to consume. So please feel free to not only like our videos, but to subscribe on those. And we really appreciate it. One thing that I will share with you, Doug, is really kind of cool is that earlier this week at work, we have a Slack channel. It's a instant messaging type program. And I posted a promotional thing about our podcast on there, and somebody had given the feedback that I loved and I hadn't thought about. He said he enjoyed episode 1, but he spent tons of money on his credit card after hearing about all the cool stuff we talk about, and he doesn't know
That's
if he can
really
afford
cool.
episode 2.
That's awesome. So we're kind of reaching out, showing these fans and folks, here's some cool tech. You might want to try it out.
Yeah, and it's cool too because, you know, it's hard to catch everything, especially when you're working all the news, all the cool stuff. And I mean, you've already brought things, especially when we do our nerd news, things that I hadn't even heard of. And so that's the best part of this is it's a place
Yep.
to come together, share the cool stuff that we talk about.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm researching, like I said, way more topics and looking at tech news, nerd news, video games, movies, all that good stuff. So I'm having a great time.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's like you got to cast that net pretty wide. And when you see something cool, I can't tell you how many times I'm like, oh man, I need to add that to the list, for us to talk
Absolutely.
about because
Yeah.
there's so many cool things out there. So let's get into it for this week. Every week I think that there's not going to be a lot of news. Then there ends up being some really cool news. So that's actually pretty awesome. So let's go ahead and get underway. Doug, you go first. What is first on our list to talk about?
All right. Atomic Hearts. You've heard of this game, right? I believe.
I have. I have.
There's a lot of controversy. We'll kind of skip reviewing the game and just quickly talk about the controversy. I
Well,
believe
let's
it's
let's let's do this first, though. Give me a,
yes.
a rundown of what is the game. I mean, first of all, have you played it?
I have not. I've only watched some stuff on YouTube about it.
And just what's your general impressions of just game level? How does it look? What does it feel like? Let's give context first for anybody who's
Okay,
not
yeah,
heard of it.
yeah. Pushing all the stuff we're getting ready to talk about on the side. It looks good, beautiful. I see a lot of positive reviews about it. It's got a really good positive rating on Steam. That's
Yeah,
kind of my main
it's been
channel
well
to get games
received.
from. Yeah.
Yep, it's very Bioshocky. Like if you've played
Yes.
Bioshock, it's first person, guns, of course, but also a lot of telekinesis where you make things float, stuff like that. The short premise of it being it's set in the 1950s, you're at some kind of a secret base. It's an alternate history. Russia is the country that you're in. They made a massive advancement with robots. Robots take over. You're having to fight them. So it's got a very Bioshock feel to it. But that part is important to the controversy. So what's the deal with this thing, man?
Some of the stories I've read that it's kind of a pro-Russian like propaganda machine. It's funding Russian oligarchs, which for our viewers, and I'll look it up so I don't.
Yeah, I believe the game was funded by oligarchs that had ties to the Russian government because
Mhm.
it's a Russian developed studio house, if I remember correctly. Correct?
Yep, and just for me,
Mundfish.
because
Yeah.
I need some help. A oligarch, for those who don't know, is a very rich business leader with a great deal of political influence. So this would be maybe lobbyist in the United States is oligarchs in Russia.
Yeah, they're
That
usually
may not
tied.
be a
And that's
exact
pretty good.
verbatim, but yeah.
No, that's pretty good. They're usually tied very, very close to the government. They have a history of being known historically for being included in corruption. They get rich through corrupted ways, back pocket deals, that kind of thing. So you can see where that's bad. Now, the other thing that I read on top of that that doesn't help. So you think that would be bad enough as a black eye? Mundfish is the developer. They admitted to harvesting user data, meaning if you
Yeah, that's
played the
not good.
game or went to their website, they were harvesting user data and giving it to the FSB, who is like, I believe, aren't they the Secret Service of Russia, if I
Mhm.
remember correctly?
I think they're the newer version of the KGB. You know, the
Correct.
KGB we hear about in the Cold Wars in the 50s and 60s and so on. I think the FSB is kind of the modern secret police force, secret CIA like investigative unit.
Exactly. So that's shady. But then on top of that, then there's the Russian propaganda, just about the tones in it, about communism and you know, anti-democracy tones and things like
Hmm.
that. Now, I haven't played it, so obviously I can't confirm that, but that's what they're obviously inciting. And then on top of that, when it released, it's kind of opportunistic being around when the world is facing a lot of issues right now with that region of the world,
Hmm.
unfortunately. So yeah, that's a hot one, man. The game does look gorgeous. I'm glad you picked this
Yeah.
because I've seen it in the news. It does look amazing. I don't know. Maybe if you play it, maybe you want to do it on a VPN so they can't
Yeah.
harvest your
So they're
data.
not tracking me. Yeah.
So yeah, but
Definitely.
that's a good one, man. Because I'm glad you put it on there because I kept seeing it pop up in the headlines like over and over again,
Hmm.
and you know I didn't know what it was about, and this prompted me to really kind of dig into it and find out a little bit more. So that's a good call out. So
So along
uh,
the same lines, and not to go off our beaten path here, but
no, go ahead.
TikTok, and I think we talked about this last episode, so I'll
We did.
just reiterate: TikTok, owned by a Chinese company, kind of the same feel as Atomic Hearts. I mean, it's a really well liked app, but in the background, there's some facetious things going on. So
And you know, it isn't a fascinating time. We're not a political podcast by any means, but
no, no,
we do dive into the technicals of things because we're wired nerdy, right? We're interested in the technology. Who would have thought that private entertainment based things like a social media or a video game could be used by a country for propaganda purposes? Fascinating. And then
yes,
you inject the whole AI thing that keeps surfacing over and over. One of yet another thing on our list is an AI thing again. We
yes,
live in very fascinating times indeed, my friend. So that's a good call out. You know, you got to be careful where you get your entertainment from, and just educate yourself, and just make sure that you know what's really going on, and try to get it from multiple sources and trusted sources. Don't just drink from one fire hose, my friends. You have to kind of spread the love and challenge yourself in your thinking. That's about as close to politics as I'm going to get, my friend.
absolutely.
What else you got
I'll
here, buddy?
Good. I'll end the Atomic Hearts with
Oh yeah,
kind of read, you know, how we install games. I'm going back and click the, oh, yeah, I accept all the terms and conditions.
it's a good
This
point.
might
The
be
end
one
user.
to scroll and look through the terms and conditions. So
That's an excellent point.
just
You may want to read that
another Doug tip for you there.
if they put it in there. You know, I mean,
If they do, yeah. Yeah.
so
All right. So we can skip this one. Yeah.
nah, man. What else you got on the list, man? Let's keep on rolling here.
All right. Next, I had vinyl records, or vinyl is taking over CDs.
Finally, making don't call
Yeah,
it a comeback, as LL Cool J would say. I am
right.
really dating myself.
So yeah, I read that vinyl sales have overtaken CDs for the first time since 1987, which is awesome.
That is great. And those numbers are 41 million vinyl records were sold last year and 33 million CDs. I
Yep.
didn't honestly, I'm kind of surprised there's still that many CDs being bought. Yeah, I mean, who would have thought?
Right.
Vinyl, I get.
They
I mean,
kept falling out of the sun visor on me, so I had to switch to something else. You know, I had my sun visor with my 10 favorite CDs. Every time I make a left turn,
are you like one of those hipsters now? You go to Starbucks with like a record player?
I'm not that cool. Yeah. So,
That's a thing, by the way, especially the
oh
ones with the
yeah,
handles. Oh yeah, it's funny. There's pictures of
I
people sitting at Starbucks with like record players instead of
I
their.
my
Yeah,
level of coffee is not, at the Starbucks, equivalent. I'm
you
more
can't
of a
afford Starbucks.
Scooters, not to give Scooters a shout out, but,
Oh yeah, you, you know what? All those
hey,
coffees are expensive. It
sponsor?
seems.
No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, there you go. Try and get sponsors. But yeah, man, I'm shocked that I really wasn't surprised about the vinyl records because you go into any major retailer, even Target. I mean, just big box stores.
They're coming
There's a lot of
back.
Dude, there's a lot of vinyl.
Yeah.
Vinyl is really making a comeback, and there was a problem there for a while where there weren't a lot of manufacturers that were making vinyl, but what happened was a lot of modern artists started releasing their records, on
Mhm.
vinyl, and, just kind of as a novelty, and people who are super fans wanted it, and so it actually there was a surge in business where a lot of manufacturing groups had to pivot and reinstate put that whole thing back into place where they can make records again. So you talk about the resurgence of a manufacturing business. It's fascinating, man. It's really, really,
Absolutely.
really cool. It's funny. Do you think there'll be a resurgence of CDs in like, 2040?
I doubt it. I mean, there's something about putting a vinyl record on, throwing that needle on it, and just that, and the sound is just crisp and clear coming out.
It's that analog,
It's got a
man.
really good vibe for the room and everything.
It does. And it's a cool technology. It always was. It's fascinating how it works. So yeah, I can see why it made a resurgence. So anything else on the vinyls before we move on?
No, just a shout out to my cousin and my brother. They are huge vinyl fans.
That's awesome.
She's got vinyl albums all over her apartment wall. It's always cool to go over and see all the record covers, and she's got some really good hits. And then my brother has the classics on his wall there, and so
Do
I
you
get
know,
to experience records with them. I don't have a vinyl or a record player myself, so.
I'm really glad you brought that up because there is an element to this that I forgot, and that is decorative. I've seen people put them, on the background of their walls because the album
Hmm.
art usually is so impressive. But the other thing is, my daughter got into something she may have seen on Pinterest, but she'll take old vinyls that maybe are scratched up and she paints them and
Oh,
she hangs them in her room, but they're
that's really
paintings.
cool.
And she'll even do things like, whether it's trademark things, like she'll do like basketball symbols, for like a sports teams and give them to people, or she'll do album covers, but on the record, and she paints them. She traces them first and hand paints them. So it's an awesome, really cool medium for art. So I'm glad you brought that up. I
Yes.
didn't even think about that, as well as, of course, the artwork on the actual albums themselves. It's a good call out.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next one we got, if you want to start with it, is Super Nintendo World.
That's right, a theme park. How often do we get to announce a new theme park? So, if you're unfamiliar, there has been for a little while now a Nintendo theme park, but it was only in Japan, which makes sense because Nintendo is based in Japan. But if you ever go out, I encourage you, well, put pictures up if you want to see them here, but you can Google it. Uh, you look out there, there are some really cool designs of the theme park. It looks like you're in a video game. It looks like Mario, for example. Everything from the pipes to the plants, Princess Peach walking around, Yoshi, whole nine yards. It's really cool, but you could only visit that place in Japan and check it out. And a lot of people would make trips. A lot of YouTubers, a lot of content creators would go there, chronologue their experience, and kind of report back. So there's some cool stuff out there. However, they have announced as of 2025 is the target date. It will be coming to Orlando, Florida. So there'll be
Oh,
another
yeah.
awesome theme park on top of there being the Universal Studios there, and of course the Monster Disney World. You now have another reason to go to Orlando, and it could be Super Nintendo World. Are you going to go, Doug?
Absolutely, yeah. So I've wanted to go to the Star Wars experience at Disney. So this be I need about a month in Orlando, probably.
I was going to say, man, they keep putting all these awesome theme parks in
Oh
there.
yeah,
You're not going to hit it in even a week. You can't even
no,
hit Disney in a week. Let's be honest, they have so many parks. So, but that's cool. I'm glad for the region. I think it's awesome that they're bringing that IP here. Now, they don't know if it's going to be a like for like park compared to Japan, or if it'll be something new, or is it going to be smaller property, which is taking parts of it. They haven't released those details yet, but it is coming. So go ahead and put that on your vacation notebook there and start saving now.
it is exciting. Hopefully they have some Mario Kart, throwing some turtles and blue shells, and
How cool would that
that'd
be?
be pretty
Like go
cool.
karts, but like Mario
Absolutely,
Karts.
yeah,
That would be awesome. That's a great idea. Like a
or
Rainbow Road thing.
maybe paintball guns and the balloons. That might be the most feasible way.
Splatoon. That can you ever seen
Oh,
Splatoon? Yeah,
yes, I have.
for the
Yeah,
Switch. Yeah, that would be really cool, but that would be messy
yeah.
though. I don't know. Yeah, you and I probably should not be working at theme parks.
Yeah, let somebody else come up with the good ideas and the save
Exactly.
for everyone ideas there.
Exactly. So you ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
What else do we have on the list, Doug? What's next on the
Well,
nerd
we
news
keep
list?
going back to the same thing, this Chat GPT, but now it looks like Discord is got it in alpha stage soon, or they already have it in alpha stage.
And what are they going to be doing with Chat GPT now? Remember, this is an AI. For those of you that had heard our prior episodes, it's a language model AI. It's very impressive with the things that it's been
Hmm.
doing. It's been trained on all types of language models, and you can input things, and it can automate stuff. It can sound like a human when you chat with it, that sort of thing. Does it mention at all what is Discord going to be doing with that? And by the way, for those that don't know, if you're not into gaming, you just listen to us because maybe you're just really nice and want to be our friends,
Hey, thanks.
your close family members. But Discord is a communication tool that people use typically for gaming, or even some companies use to communicate with their fan base. So it is like being able to text, and you can also get on like Zoom phone calls together and that sort of thing. So what are they going to do with Chat GPT?
Reading the article, I believe their Clydebot, which I haven't really used their Clydebot, some moderation tools for developers, and then some platform features. I don't believe, and unless I haven't missed it, that they're going to allow users to generate conversation with it.
Yeah, and it's still in beta, so they're probably testing to see what they can do with it. I think the most interesting thing about it would be if it were to do automated things like summarize conversations. So if
Hmm.
sometimes if people are chatting, talking back and forth, and you missed it, instead of you having to read the whole thread, you could ask ChatGPT to summarize to me what was said and what was decided. So maybe that's
Yeah,
what and I'm just guessing on what that is. Some people use Discord also for tying into their Twitch streams. And so you can do things like automating sending like graphics and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with it. But
it will be.
I feel like every week there's a new AI thing. It's just like blowing up, you know.
Hmm.
It's the year of
So
AI.
yeah, I'm kind of waiting for the days of, and if people don't know, the COD or Call of Duty lobby gets pretty rough. So I'm waiting for the days of someone to throw Chat GPT into a Call of Duty lobby and let the fireworks start flying.
That'll be interesting. It'll either join in with them or it'll start moderating. It's gonna be fascinating,
Yeah,
you know.
it could be a good nanny for some of these people.
It very well could be. It very well could be. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see where all this is going. It's a new powerful technology. I just think all these companies now are investing into it, and they're trying to figure out, well, how can we capitalize on it? So,
Hmm.
and with all
Yeah.
technology, there's good to it and there's bad to it. So this will be interesting to see how it kind of fleshes out. So I think we have one thing left on our list, and that is the Apple HomePod. Is going to be re-released and get updated with an actual display. If you're unfamiliar with the Apple HomePod, it's essentially, and I'm going to try to say it without mine going off, the competition for Alexa. So it's a home AI, again, AI assistant. It's been around for a while. They just took Siri and integrated Siri into it. And it didn't really take off quite as well. I'm sure a lot of people with the Apple they're really into the Apple ecosystem, really enjoyed it, but it did not take off with the fiery phrase of what Amazon's products did with their Echo line. So now it looks like they're trying to re-release it and they're trying to put a display on it. My big thing on that, this is just my opinion. Part of the reason why Alexa is so much better is simply because they train the AI on the data that they gather. Apple's very good about security and sensitivity. And so they are careful about what they train. So I don't think Siri is as well trained as other AIs. Thus, I don't think she's as good as answering things.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
you know, so
Yeah,
that's just my
I've looked
opinion.
at a test before, and it ranked, and not to trigger yours of mine, but Alexa and Google and Siri, and
Hmm.
I believe Siri and Alexa may have done good. I'll have to read that again. So,
Yeah. Well,
just as far as flowing conversations.
and how will that change when you integrate Chat GPT into these
Oh, big
AIs for
time!
home
It should.
assistants? So yeah, it's going to be bananas. It really is going to be
Yeah,
interesting, both scary and exciting all at the same time. I don't know. So
definitely.
we'll see. All
As
right,
a
Doug.
Android guy, I'll stick with my Google
Uh,
and Alexa. So
wow. You were talking about end
I
user
know,
license agreement. Don't go look up what Google does, my friend.
I know. I need to read the fine print.
There's fine prints and everything. There really are.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, for our core conversation today, this is something that we had on our list, and we don't want the year to get too far ahead of us without talking about this. But today we want to focus on this year, 2023's upcoming video game releases. We do have a link out to Polygon that as an exhaustive list of games that are targeted for this year. Now, it's important to note this list is huge. We're not going to go through every single one of them. We're going to go through each one of the months, and we're just going to tag team about what ones we're excited about. I will take and make sure that we have this exhaustive list in our show notes if you want to check it out yourself to see what's coming down the way. I've already noticed that while it's only a couple days old, things like 5 days old, there have been some that haven't even been updated yet. For example, Bethesda, we'll talk about Starfield. It was announced in a launch trailer this week that it will be coming out in September. But when you look on the list, there's no date yet, or it said like Q1 of 2023, which is not true. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but this list is a very good list. It's relatively accurate. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through it starting at the beginning of this year. So some of these games have already come out, and you may have even heard about us talking about some of these. And we're just going to take turns running down the list here, starting in January. So pardon our gaze as we're looking off to the side. This list is huge. So
Mm.
we have an awesome year this year in 2023. Um,
There's some really good titles coming.
it really is. So let's start in January. Now, January's already happened. These have already released. But what stands out to you, Doug, starting on this list? I'll let you go first. What do you think about
Well,
this list?
there's two definite standouts. One we've already talked. Well, we've talked about both of them really. So, Dead Space, January 27th release date,
It's a
and then
remaster, right?
yep,
Yep.
Age of Empires 2. It's remastered. They're calling it a definitive edition, January 31st.
And those look awesome. And
Those stand
there's
out to me for January, big time.
and then they do. And the other ones that I think are really good honorable mention ones on here, that especially they have huge franchises tied to them. Uh, Persona
Mhm.
3 portable,
I've not played that,
and
but I've heard a lot about it.
yeah, they're reporting it is what they're doing. And then Persona 4 Gold. Now I played Persona 5. Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's
Hmm.
weird, like no joke, that game. So it's kind of turn-based strategy. Think of like Final Fantasy 7, but it's anime Japanese style, which I'm not heavily into, but it's so good. You're just a bunch of kids and you're trying to make the world a better place by fighting people's personas, meaning what they pretend to be. It's like greed, anger, that kind of thing.
Really good message going there, it sounds like.
It is, but the design is stupid weird. I'll give you an example. One of the bosses when I played Persona 5, I believe it was, and my friend Alex is the one that turned me on to these, and I really do. The combat's really good, and the way that you level up, it's a great RPG. But it is a devil sitting on a toilet, and
Mhm.
I'm being serious. And whenever it does its big attack, it like strains and shakes. It's
Oh
the
my
most.
gosh.
I'll try to find the picture or the video,
Yeah,
and I will
we'll
put
try to
it
throw that up there.
because you got to see it. But don't judge the game based off of there's weird stuff in it. But trust me, it is the gameplay is awesome. So I think it's cool that they're going back in. The earlier Personas were on PlayStation 3. There may even been one on PlayStation 2. I skipped that console. I always say that, but it's been around for a while, and it's nice that they're re-releasing these on these newer consoles so people can experience because it really is a good series.
Mhm.
All right, let's roll down February. Jeez, look at that list.
February. I mean, and February is huge. There's so many titles on there.
Now I'll call it
Uh,
Hogwarts. We talked about that, right? We can scratch
yeah,
that one
mhm,
off. It's
yeah,
amazing. It's really good. I love it. I want to call out Deliver Us Mars. Now I'll probably pick this one up. I have Deliver Us the Moon that I
mhm,
played on my PC. It was a relatively short game. I really enjoyed it. Um, I'm wanting to see if this is the same. When I watch the trailer, it looks a little different. Basically, premise being, I believe you're like stranded on this base and
yeah. I'm
moon on
looking
the
at some
moon. You got to figure out what
screens over
happened,
here.
and you got to get your way off. It's gorgeous game. Love it. I'm hoping Deliver Us Mars is good. So it's on my back catalog of list. I've
Hmm.
not played it yet, but it is there. What else on this list? Because this list is long.
It is
Obviously,
really long.
Metroid Prime remake. I know friends of
Hmm.
mine have been playing that.
Atomic Heart. We talked about it earlier
Yep.
today.
Yep.
Um, there's just
Ooh,
so many.
I see
Ted.
one I want to. Well, okay. You mentioned Sons of the Forest, one of our last
Yes.
episodes. That's on there,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
I found out something about that I want to mention that my son told me. So remember, it's in early access, right? Well, he told me, and he had already beat it, but he told me that that was only a small portion of the map. He said they're actually releasing the
Oh,
expanded, like the actual full, and he said the map is ginormous and they're adding all kinds of content to it. So if you were
perfect.
interested in Sons of the Forest, don't let go of it, especially if you picked it up, because they're adding way more. Because again, it's early access, but when it's a complete game, he was telling me that it's going to be huge.
Huge.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I wanted to
Perfect.
mention that.
Yep, and everything I've heard from that is people are having a great time. And I also read a story that people are using it as a like calming walk around.
A walking simulator.
Yeah, they
That's
just
cool.
walk. I guess there's some ambient noise and music in the background.
That's really
So I
cool. I
saw
hadn't
that
even.
the other day. I thought that was cool.
Have you ever played? And this, I actually added this to my Steam, but I added part one, and I know it has a massive following. Kerbal Space Program.
I've played a demo of it, I believe, but
Was it good?
yeah, I've been seeing commercials all the time for it this week.
People are crazy about this game. And it did
Mhm.
catch my eye. Essentially, use real science. These little Kerbals, they look like minions to me. You got to get them off of the planet, but you got to build a
Mhm.
rocket. And you have to use real science to do it, like real trajectory, enough fuel, and then you can travel. Well, in February, the Kerbal Space Program 2 launched, and it has a little bit better graphics and that sort of thing. So I'm interested in it for sure. Another honorable mention is Octo Traveler Path 2. That's a role playing game. Played the first one, is really, really good. So that one's awesome. And then Destiny 2, Lightfall. I try to get into Destiny. Eh,
Yeah.
a lot of people like
There's
it,
a lot
but
of grinding, and for those that don't know, grinding is kind of doing the same missions over and over to get some experience points and get some gear and stuff that you need. But Destiny 1 and Destiny 2, I played just so much of, hey, we got to play the same mission to keep getting this stuff.
yep, spot on, man. That's why I could never get into it. So, but
Yeah.
no, 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 I'm not being
No
negative on it.
hate. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a great game. Like I
That's
enjoyed it
for,
when I played
yeah.
it, but yeah, it just the time it took, was pretty significant, and I just couldn't invest it. So let's move into March. Oh my
All
gosh, we have a
right.
decent list here too. You go
Yeah, March
first.
is doing good. Some of the things that catch my eye: Resident Evil 4 remakes or a remaster
Shout
is
out to
coming
my
out for
brother.
all the major consoles. Yeah, he
He
loves that
he
game.
he has told me repeatedly. Now I've not played four, so let's be clear.
Excuse me.
I did play five, which was wretched, uh, but my brother, he's a major game collector. Like he's really into
Hmm.
this. He has told me repeatedly four is the best one in the series, according to him. Now I'll probably play the remake because he tells me he's like, you got to play four. And I love
Yeah,
the first one. I love the second one. Played them quite a few times. I think I did a little bit of Nemesis, but so I got a shout out to him on that. He's always telling me, can't wait for four, can't wait for four. So he swears it's the best one. Have you? Which ones have you played in the series, or where have you been at on
played
it?
the first and second one. I mean, I'm slacking. I played Code Veronica. I can't remember what series that is without looking it up right
Yeah,
away.
I get kind of confused on those. They had
Uh,
offshoots like Code Veronica.
hmm.
I thought Nemesis was three. People are going to flame us on this. I know. I
Yeah,
don't have it in front of
yeah.
me. Doesn't matter.
I
Either way,
know,
there's a lot of
but
them.
one and
But
two, I played those a lot. Yeah,
oh, but they're because they're classics. They're great.
yeah.
But my brother contends that four is best. So definitely gonna check that one out. Now I got to call out something on this list, man. That I have been
And it's probably the
so.
same one. Yeah.
What you go first? What is
All
it?
right, I am excited for and of this whole list the entire year, The Last of Us coming to PC.
No, that's not what I was gonna
Oh
say.
darn. Okay.
That's exciting though for you because you have
But
not
I know where you're
experienced.
going now, yeah.
Yeah. So The Last of Us on PC is huge. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for you to tell me what you think about it because
Absolutely. I have not played
those games are
it
so good.
on console. I'm really excited that it's coming to PC. I'm watching the series on HBO. If you all haven't had the time to check that out, I think I haven't played the game, but talking to others like you that have played the game, they said they're doing a really good job of keeping to the storyline. I mean, there's a couple differences,
There are
but
some deviations. We'll have a whole episode on
yeah,
it.
I really
But
enjoy the series. So
yeah, it's a great game, and you're gonna love it. That's one of those ones that the first time you would love to go back and play it for the first time and have that experience again. So,
yep, which
um,
that's going to happen soon, and I will let everybody know kind of my thoughts on that. That'll be
yeah, I
great.
would definitely want to know. So for me, I am so excited about System Shock, the remake. Now,
Yeah.
System Shock was a 1990s game. It's first person. However, it's not so shootery. It's kind of got a very dark atmosphere. There's an AI. Again, this theme, I promise you guys, we're not doing this on purpose. A rogue
Right.
AI called Shodan, and essentially she takes over this space station, and you wake up and everybody's mutated and weird, and she's trying to basically uh, do better than what humanity did, and you got to stop her. And it's a creepy game. even back in the day, the old version was really creepy. It was a great game. Loved playing it, but now it has updated visuals, updated engine. It looks amazing. I'll try to throw some of those images up on that. I don't know if you ever heard. It's a BioShock. We mentioned that already. BioShock is the spiritual successor of System Shock, which came first. So just for a
Yep.
frame of reference on that.
And it looks like it has a very wide release. I'll just run through Linux, Macs, PS4, PS5, PC, Xbox One,
Oh
Xbox
yeah,
Series X. So
it's been
they're
around.
throwing it wide out there, which would be
Yep.
good. They have a lot of fans over the years.
Yep. Now, there's one other I'm going to call out for March. I have to. Now, one of the topics we're going to cover on the show, because we got a running backlog list, is just kind of guilty pleasure games. I'm just going to throw it out there. I picked up last year WWE 2K22. Now, I'm not into wrestling nowadays. I was like in the 90s during the Attitude Era and that, and then the Nitro Wars and all that stuff. Really dating myself. However, I'm not into it today, but I did pick up last year's version of this because they had changed the control scheme to be more like the Nintendo 64 version
Mm.
of those
Yep.
wrestling games, where there's a button for grapple, then there's a button
Mm.
for heavy attack. And it's easier to play. It wasn't arcadey where you just smash buttons like Street Fighter,
Yep.
because that's why I didn't like it. The game was unbelievably good. It's a guilty pleasure game for me. I loved it. Now I don't know if 2K23 is going to be as good. That gets you on that whole thing of kind of like the Madden series. How much do these games really change from each year, and should you
Just the
wait?
cover art, probably. Yeah.
Exactly, because I love the NBA games, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I pick up an NBA 2K game about every 3 years or four
Hmm.
years. I don't
Yeah.
do every year. Maybe that'll be the same for this, but I had to call that one out because I will mention it again on our guilty pleasure gaming topic.
Absolutely. And that brings up kind of some fond memories of going back to WWF Warzone back
Oh
on
yeah.
PS2,
Mhm.
PS1, maybe.
Yep.
But Hell in a Cell, the kind of cage you're crawling out the
Oh
outside
yeah.
and fighting for the belt and
There's
hitting
some
people
great
with
wrestling games.
folding chairs.
Yep.
I had a great time. Yeah.
Dude, there's some
Lots
really
of great
good
memories.
good retro you know, wrestling games, believe it or not. There were some very good ones. So, all right, let's go on to April. We're only in April. My goodness.
April's still looking strong. I mean, you have PGA
Oh.
Tour. I kind of like the Tiger Woods version of golf games. I don't golf in real
Mhm.
life. I go to the driving range and that's it. But that looks like it's going to be a good one. And then coming down the list, I know this is a big favorite for you. You want to go ahead and talk about Advance Wars.
Oh yeah. I've mentioned it before. It was
Yep.
originally out on the Game Boy Advanced and Game Boy DS, turn-based strategy, cartoony. Wow, I'm so excited about that one, and that's going to be on the Switch. So yes, Advance Wars 1 and 2 look awesome. Dead Island 2. Do you ever play the Dead Island games?
Yeah. The
They're pretty
last
over the
one
top.
came out. I had to look it up, 2011, because I know the second one's been in develop for a while.
Hmm.
I think it's stopped a couple times, if
It
I'm
did.
correct, and then they
They've had
brought
some
it
production
back.
problems. Yep.
Hmm. But yeah, since 2011, we've been waiting for a sequel, and we finally got it. It looks like
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I don't know if I'll pick that one up or not. I enjoy the first one. It's over the top campy. It's
it's
you're
kind
killing
of an
zombies.
open world. Yeah, just
Yeah, but it's
it's
goofy. Like you
it
can
is
make
goofy.
weapons and that are just nuts,
Yeah,
like a weed eater with machetes on it or something like. I don't remember how it is. It's
it's pretty good.
bananas. But we also have on the list Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Holy cow, dude!
The images and videos coming out to kind of the trailers looks great.
I played the first one in this. I was kind of late to the game on it. Everybody else was like, "Oh, it's so good," and they played it, and I played it late in the game. Actually, I played this past summer. Oh my gosh. Absolutely love this game, and I am so excited for this. Until we started this, I was like, I didn't know it was coming in April. So,
Yeah,
jeez Louise. I'm gonna have to
doing
hurry up
great. Yeah.
what I'm doing on my other games. So yeah, Star Trek Resurgence. I didn't even know there was a Star Trek game. Now it says it's going to be April, but on this list it says to be announced, meaning it may get pushed. So I didn't even know there wasn't going to be another Star Trek game. So
Yeah, I have to go
and
back all the way to Windows XP and DOS for my Star Trek games.
there's
Starfleet
some.
Academy is on
Oh,
Super
it's a great
Nintendo.
game.
Love Starfleet Academy.
So did I. The Super Nintendo version, I think that was the
It
best
was
version.
great.
Dude,
Yep.
the PC version was
Uh,
good, but it was kind of glitchy. You can get it off good old games, but oh man, the SNES
Super
version of that.
Nintendo. Yep.
Dude, I'm so glad you brought that game up. Nah, now I need to just
And
go.
then you could play as the other races, the other
Yeah,
factions.
I need to go grab my Steam Deck, fire up.
Get to fly a
Star
Klingon
Trek Academy.
warbird.
Oh yeah, the
Perfect.
Kobayashi Maru. You could do
Oh
that
yeah,
whole thing.
yeah.
The last thing I'll mention here, because there hasn't from April that there hasn't been a lot of release that since Microsoft purchased Mojang. Now Mojang, of course, was the development house that made Minecraft. Minecraft is huge today.
Mm.
Minecraft Legends. They have another version of Minecraft coming out that's supposed to be, which is kind of a big deal because that's a big IP property. Now they did do a role playing game that was kind of like Diablo, and it was really good with Minecraft Dungeons. But this Legends is coming out in April as well, so that's a big call out that I have to definitely bring up to everyone to not miss.
Yeah.
So you ready to move
All
on to
right.
next month?
We are. They're going off to May. May, the list is pretty short, but it's still got some good titles in there. One
Mm-hmm.
that catches my eye is Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, that's soon. I
Yep,
didn't realize that one was
coming
coming
out for
out.
the Switch.
I'm looking something up real
Have
quick
you
here.
played the one before it?
I did. I have to say, I loved it. I love that it was open world. I loved that all of the things that they did in it, but it didn't snag me quite the way
Breath
that I
of the
thought it
Wild,
would.
right? Yeah.
Yes, and it's good. And honestly, it's on my list that I need to go back and revisit it. I enjoyed playing it, but I kind of got tired of it was so big, and at the time, I just think I had a lot going on. So a lot of people have complained that Tears of the Kingdom looks a lot like the prior Breath of the Wild, and they just were
Just
reskinning
kind
it.
of freshened it up with some new
Yeah, but
missions and some
that's
new
okay if it's a good
quests.
game. Why not? Why not do that? So
Yeah.
um, another one that month I'm excited about. People were kind of irritated. I think it was supposed to come out sooner this year, but there's some controversy around it because they released some gameplay footage on this game, and people said it didn't look very good. I haven't looked. I don't know if that's founded or not. I haven't looked into it, but it's Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. As you know, DC guy. This game looks awesome. Basically, all of the premise, as I understand it, is all of the superheroes go bad, and they're going to destroy the world. Well, who's left
Oh,
to stop them but the villains? And so it looked. I love the premise. It looked really cool. People are mad it got pushed to May. I think it's set for May 26th now. That's what I was just looking up to make sure that date was right, and it is. But you know what? I'm okay with pushes as long as the game's stable and good. So I have optimistic feel for this one. I really do hope it's good. I hope it's like the Batman games, like the
yeah,
Arkham series. Um,
definitely.
I'm assuming the fighting will be like that, but we'll see. Any others in May you want to call out, my friend, before we jump into June?
Yeah, some of these titles I haven't heard. I'm definitely going to check them out. I'll keep referring to this list, but Hogwarts Legacy we can just throw out that it is coming to older generations such as the PS4 and Xbox One. So if
That's
you're
right.
still rocking those, Hogwarts Legacy is coming to you. Just hold on.
I think that's awesome that they're
Yeah,
still putting it out for last gen. I say kudos to them if they can do it. It is made with the Unreal Engine 4, as we talked about before, which it's a very optimized engine. It can run really well on those platforms. I say kudos to them for doing that. A lot of people are kind of ticked because at launch it didn't come out for the older consoles, but you're getting it. Stop complaining. I think another honorable mention is Redfall. That is a co-op multiplayer game. You're killing vampires, basically, made by Arcane Studios, but published by our good friends at Bethesda. So that one looked interesting. It looked good. It'll be interesting to see how it fares. So let's move on into June, my friend. What's your call out for June? There's two on this one we got to talk about for sure.
okay. Well, let's see if I pick one of them for you. But Diablo 4,
Dude, yes.
uh, June
Yes.
6th.
Yes. And what's awesome about this, I told my wife about this because I thought it was
Yeah.
just I think I sent it to you guys, like friends of mine. KFC. I got this email. KFC has a marketing campaign where they're partnering with the release of Diablo, and they have it's a chicken sandwich, but there's no bun. It's the chicken is the bun, but it's super spicy.
Oh,
And what's cool about it though, you go and buy this sandwich though, you get a code, so you get an early access code, so you can play it sooner, or be able to test play it, which is a
mhm.
really cool cross promotion program. But who would have thought KFC and Diablo, spicy chicken?
Hey, we just got a KFC in town. I have to check about
That's
that.
right. That's right.
So
Get yourself
Diablo
that early
4,
access code.
absolutely. Give me a chicken sandwich.
There you go. That's a great game. That's a Diablo 3. I never beat it. I played the heck out of it with a lot of people. Um, and man. I love that game. Even going back to
Mm.
Diablo 2, Diablo 1,
Now I'm getting
love
ready to get
those
some hate
games.
from you. I've never
Oh.
played Diablo.
Well, I'm not gonna hate you for not playing it. I'm gonna hate you if you tell
Oh,
me it's
okay.
garbage.
Oh, no, not at all. I've
Oh,
always heard awesome reviews. I just never
dude,
picked it up. I may
it's so
actually
good.
pick this up. Now, my question to you and some
Mhm.
of the viewers might be able to help is, do I need to play the other ones to get the storyline of this one?
Not really. I mean, it helps
I
a
can
little
pick
bit.
it up and enjoy it
You
and
can. My advice would be, so, I mean, the first one came out on PC first, and it is a little dated. It's still worth a play just to mess around with. But I would suggest go to YouTube and just people have stitched together the somatic scenes that Blizzard does, kind of like what
that
they do
kind
with
of
World of
tells the
Warcraft,
storyline.
and they're amazing. They could be movies themselves.
Perfect.
Just watch the summary. Just Google the summary videos for Diablo 1. You could do that with two too. I would suggest maybe you could go with three, but no, the story isn't so much. And now it is a grindy type game, but it rewards you for that grinding so well with loot drops,
Yep.
and then of course playing with your friends and helping each other level up. And then it's just God, such a great game. Love Diablo. See, you got me on that kick. So,
There we
what do you
go.
think the second one in June? This one I didn't even know. Now it says June. I'll tell you this: it's not June. This has moved recently. But what do you
Yep.
think the one I'm going to call out is?
I believe we're going with RoboCop Rogue City, which
You know me
sounds
so well.
amazing.
Go out. I'll put the footage up because I was interested. I didn't know they're making a RoboCop game. I'd heard rumors. It's
Mhm.
so what's the word? Goofy. I like. It's almost like you're on rails because he's walking like RoboCop. It's a first person, but you get to shoot his gun that he keeps in his leg.
It's great.
Oh my
And some
god!
of the
I'll
screens and concept art coming out of it, I'm looking now, it
oh,
looks
looks
amazing.
gory.
Yeah.
Gory as all get out. You basically the video I've seen is him going into a crack house and he just kicks the door open and the guy flies across the room. He grabs people by the throat and throws them around the room. And he's just popping people in the head left and right. It's just so violent and over the top. Now, it, on this list, it says it's June. I believe, you have to keep me honest here. I think it got pushed to September the last I looked.
Yeah.
But it's RoboCop Rogue City. I'll have footage up here while we're talking about it. Like, it is definitely worth checking out. I didn't know till I looked at this list. I'm like, what? There's a RoboCop game. That's awesome. Last in June for me, Street Fighter 6. I'm not master Street Fighter fan, but they're classics. You got to call them out. They do a very good job as they keep releasing them, so they're always worth calling out. Any others for June before we move into July, which is a very short month? We get slim in July and August, my friends. So, any
People
others?
in July, I guess they figured they're out at the
Eh,
beach or
they're
out hanging
shooting
out,
fireworks.
picnics. Yeah, yeah. Just Hogwarts Legacy. Kudos to them. Just keep pushing out to different. July 25th, they're coming out to Nintendo Switch. So if you have, it doesn't
Yeah,
really matter what console you have, you are going to get a chance to play this really good game.
I think it's awesome. I love that they're
Yeah.
trying to spread the love. It's a great game, and they're trying to get it on all the consoles. So kudos to
All
them. So
right.
that was a July pick. I've never played these, but they have a rabid following. Especially, I think starting on the GameCube is Pikmin. This
Hmm.
Pikmin
Haven't
4
played
for
that.
yeah, and I haven't either. I've wanted to. It's got awesome graphics. Shame on me for not doing that, but I know it's got a huge following. So that's another one in July. And then the only one they list in July is Disney Illusion Island, which is their take on you just being able to visit different worlds that Disney has come up with, whether it's Peter Pan or Jungle Book. It's a reimagination of you being able to do kind of like The Sims is kind of the take on it, but in their worlds. I
Hmm.
guess you can build your own world. So it's an interesting concept. We'll see what happens with it.
That will be good.
August, super slim right now. What
Yep,
do
I
we have
gotta
for
get some more
August?
hate from you.
Oh, what's
So,
that?
Baldur's Gate 3. I have not played any of the Baldur's Gate series.
I
I'm
won't
just
hate
getting
on
the
you
hate
for
all
that.
around. Yeah.
I won't hate on you for that because those are an acquired taste. I will admit
Mm,
to you, I did play Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. I was a massive Baldur's Gate 1 fan. It is in the D&D franchise, but those were big box PC games, man, back in the day. That was my
yeah.
jam. So I had 1 and 2. I never beat them. I always wanted to. I think it's cool they're continuing with the series. I know there's a Dungeons and Dragons movie coming out this summer, maybe. I think it's cool that they're releasing Baldur's Gate 3 on these
Kind of
platforms.
prior to that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's cool because it's not like a Dungeons and Dragons movie port because those always go bad. They're taking what they know works in the same type of universe and moving it in. So I think that's awesome. So let's move on into our list now. They mention these on the list. Um, Say that they are going to release in 2023 with a launch window. That means a target window, but they don't have a date. Now, typically that means they'll get pushed almost
Yeah.
always. They may even push into next year. So, any on this list that look like something you would be interested in?
A lot of these I haven't heard of. I mean, just by the title of the name, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the game.
All
Just
right,
that
bro.
name's kind of catching me.
I'm gonna blow your mind. Are you ready?
Uh,
I'm about to drop some old
okay,
man knowledge on you
I'm
here.
sitting down. I'm ready to go.
So I think there's only about 4 years age difference between you and me, maybe.
Yeah,
Which isn't a lot, I think, but it's enough for me to remember certain things. There was a movie called
I do
Killer
remember.
Clowns
I've
from
watched
Outer
it.
Space.
Yeah.
Oh, you've seen it. It's got like the little
Yes.
popcorn. They put people in can. It's based on that.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
I may have to watch it. So
Why
I'm.
now? Why now?
Yeah. No idea.
It's
Yeah. I'll have to rewatch that again. I remember,
oh, it's
as a
horrible.
kid, it's like, ooh, this is creepy, and
I know.
I'm
You
not a
watch
fan
it.
of clowns anyway.
I know.
Now, I think we both have a friend, and we'll just give him a shout out that he loves clowns, quote unquote, and
Oh,
we'll have
I
to
know
get
you.
him to play this game.
We
That'll be
should have
great.
him play this game and film it. That would be
Absolutely,
quality
it'll be like
entertainment.
one of the VR experiences, but we'll
He
just watch him.
I wonder if they'll have this in VR. I'll have him over. He can use my son's
Yes,
VR. We'll film it. He'll
it's going to
scream
be
at the
great.
top of his lungs, wet himself. It'll be great. It's
And
gonna
as
be
good
great.
friends, we'll help him out, but we'll laugh first. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh, yeah, it's fun. All
So
right, we'll keep on moving through here. Uh,
to close
so
out this list, Tortuga, A Pirate's Tale. I've seen a couple screens.
mhm.
What interests me about this is Assassin's Creed Black Sail. I loved it. I loved the kind of ship combat and the running around in all these little pirate villages and living a pirate's life. So
Well, it should be on our list.
Tortuga, if it goes close to that, it should be good.
There should be a game on our list. I'm scrolling down. I haven't seen it yet. A lot of people were mad. It got pushed, as they are. But if you love pirate games, especially if you were a big fan of Black Flag, the Assassin's Creed one, which was awesome,
I think I called it
Skull,
Black Sail. Yeah, Black Flag.
Black Flag, maybe, yeah. I'm trying to remember. Either way, Skull and Bone. If you
Mm.
check that bad
Yes,
boy
I
out,
have seen the screens for that. It looks good.
it looks good. It looks like a great pirate game as well. So it's cool that they're keeping up with that. Let's keep on plugging through
Nothing
here
else
now.
is
Just
catching my eye. Yep.
yeah, me neither. I mean, we have like just the window of April through June, not a lot. I mentioned before Valhelm. Again, my son's played that. It's a Viking game. You're stuck in the afterlife, and you have to. It's a survival game, but you work together. You have to, get your wood, build your building, try to get to the gates of
Hmm.
Valhalla. It's interesting. Looks really good. The window of July through September. Any of those stand out for you? The NBA and the NFL games, of course, they're on
Yeah,
there.
they're kind of every year things. I don't think they've announced the cover for Madden 24 or the NBA for that matter.
No,
You kind
I don't
of
think so.
sponsor or put one guy on the cover, so I don't think they've announced that.
Yeah, they try to coincide
Um,
that with like who's having a really good year,
yeah.
with their stats, that sort of thing. So those
So
are
I'm going to throw some
staples.
hate to the Madden series at least.
Uh oh.
I remember the good old days of just being able to play the season, and people will have to correct me if I'm wrong, but now it's kind of a franchise mode where you run all operations like the stadium and stuff like that.
Oh, really?
I
I didn't
think
know that.
so. Now, unless they've changed it. I like the old days where you just play your season and play your games, but I think there's more to it now, which good for them. I mean,
Yeah,
but I don't
but
want to mess with the behind the scenes operations of the stadium and the franchise. And
yeah, I think it's cool they put that in there, but it should definitely be optional. But I haven't played the Madden
yeah,
games in quite a while. Used to be a fan of them. I still, they're great games. They
think
really
I'm
are.
back to Madden 10 or 11. Now it's Madden 24.
Oh yeah, yeah. What's
So it's
crazy?
been
If
a minute.
even with the basketball games, I say this all the time. I'll walk through a room, and if one of the NBA 2K games is on, I swear if you just kind of passing glance, especially now they have the sweat and everything, it looks like you're watching a real game. It's almost
It's so
indistinguishable between
realistic.
real.
Yes.
And same goes for the football. You walk through the room, you just glance at it. They're getting so good at it. So all right, let's keep on trekking here. We're almost to this list. It's massive. Sorry about today's
It's
episode. A little bit longer. We'll kind of wrap this bad boy up. So we're looking at just wide open window of January through June. Um, Starfield, Bethesda's release. Now this is basically Skyrim, Fallout in space. Looks
Yeah,
awesome. They did make that announcement I said earlier. It's going to be in September, which is
yeah.
awesome. I'm most excited about that. And then
I'm
another
really
call
excited.
out on that is Homeworld 3. That was originally Homeworld 1 and 2 were on the DOS PC platform. And this is another version that they're continuing on with it. That's kind of a strategy based space combat game on a very large scale where you can make ships and attack each other and stuff. Any on that list that call out to you there, Doug?
Nothing really. No, I mean Starfield. I'm sure we're going to have an episode here just about that. I'm really excited, but nothing else bringing getting my attention. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Cool. We'll keep on trucking, man. I'm just
Yep.
gonna run down that list a little bit. It doesn't look like mid-year. There's not a lot there. Um, Second half of 2023. Now that's kind of big, but part two to Spider-Man on the PlayStation 5. Huge game. They had a smaller follow-up with Miles Morales. Both just impeccable games. They are on PC now, Doug. So you got no excuse. You should play them. They
Awesome.
are. They're
Yes.
amazing. They're great games. Uh, and then we get to games expected in 2023, but no launch date, which means they're probably at risk. Glancing at this list, man, do any of these
There's a
things
lot of good
stand out?
titles on there.
There's some great titles on
I'll
there.
just kind of run through Age of Empires 4. You know, I'm a huge Age of Empires fan. That's going to be really exciting. Armored Core 6. Now,
I've
I've
never
talked to
played
you
those.
about that. It's really good. So I think it's a continuation or at least a love to the good old Mech Warrior days.
Love MechWarrior.
Mech Warrior way back in the day.
Yeah.
Another Assassin's Creed entry. Keep going down. There's a lot of really good titles, no dates.
I bet many of these are going to
Um,
get pushed. They have to.
mhm.
Fallout 4. Now, that's the reskinned version of it for PlayStation 5. So current gen. Or next gen. I call it current
Yeah,
gen. But either way, they're doing an updated version of that. That's pretty cool. Flashback
yeah.
2. Flashback is a great original game in the DOS days, so they're continuing that series. Um,
Keep
Jurassic
going
World
down the list. I mean,
Aftermath.
there's just so many
That's a
titles,
VR
and
game.
we'll have to tell our listeners check out all these titles, make your own opinion.
Yeah,
But
dude.
lots and lots of stuff coming out this year.
There's so much stuff, and I'm still scrolling through.
Yeah.
There's a Texas
Get down to.
Chainsaw Massacre game. Did you
I
know
was
that?
just gonna
What,
say
what is
that.
going on?
See, we're syncing today. We're
Oh my
thinking
god.
alike here. It's going great.
They do call out
Um,
what is going on here? It's like they're running out of IP ideas. Oh, let's do that. The most
right.
obscure.
Now, Warhammer 40,000, that's similar to, correct me if I'm wrong, Command and Conquer, kind of
It
commanding your troops, or
it can be. So the Warhammer series is
they've got two different versions.
they
Yeah.
do Warhammer's it started as a tabletop game with miniatures. A lot of people get into them painting them. It's really cool. Very expansive. They got books and novels, and so it started off as tabletop kind of role playing game. Think Dungeons and Dragons, but with miniatures. However, there are Warhammer 40,000 that you're right. It's very command and conquer, where it's real time strategy, moving troops across the screen. But then there's Warhammer Vermintide, for example. That's a first person, and it's like a shooter. And they combine, guns and swords and magic and that sort of thing. But they have a huge following. They're great games too, as well.
Yeah. So I think that about wraps it up for the list. Lots and lots of good titles, lots of dents in my wallet, but it'll be fine. It'll be okay.
Oh my gosh, I know it's going to be so crazy. We'll
I'm
have
gonna have to get a Steam gift card or something.
I know we're gonna have to probably try to get some sponsorship. See, maybe they can send
Uh,
send us stuff to
yeah,
review.
we'll test it for you.
There
Yeah,
you go.
absolutely.
All the more reason for you guys to subscribe. Let's build their brand.
Yeah,
Let's build this audience, and then we can get more awesome, cool content, and maybe even some cool sponsorships. Hey, get a little Starfield action our way, Bethesda. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
yeah,
That would be cool. So
uh,
let's talk about our look ahead and wrap this bad boy up.
yeah.
So we have some really cool episodes coming up. Our next episode, which we've been in the works for a while, we're gonna have our first celebrity guest. We are both so excited.
Very
It's
excited.
it's very
Yes,
unique. You're never gonna guess it. So just tune in next week. It'll be something completely different that you never would have thought that we would have had. We're very excited to have this guest. He's an amazing person to talk to and has some very interesting things to share with us about what
it's
he
gonna be great.
does and his claim to fame. And then after we're going to get that recorded and get that out there. After that, we then have an episode in which it's going to be a little different than this format, because we're switching it up the next few. Instead of having straight up conversations, we're going to be,
Mhm.
uh, you know, changing up our format. Doug, what are we going to do after that?
I'm really excited. We're going to Kansas City Comic Con. I know you've been before. You've invited me this year. I'm really excited. I have no idea what to expect. I'm going to kind of walk into the area and just kind of jaw drop. And so I'll have a lot to say. You'll have some kind of expert knowledge of going to the past Comic Cons. And it'll be kind of a reaction from me. Plus, I think we're going to talk about the cool things you saw, the cool things I saw, any celebrities. It's going to be a really packed episode. We're going to talk about a lot.
It will be. We're going to capture a lot of cool content. We'll share that content, discuss it. It'll be like an unboxing video.
It'll be
It's
good.
it, Doug's Virgin Comic Con is what it is. So
I'm excited.
so it'll be good. And then coming up in April, we're excited in that we are going to be helping a friend of ours work a booth at a local gaming convention, retro gaming convention. As we get closer to that date, we'll tell you more about that. But we will cover that as well and talk about what
Hmm.
all we see there, and just kind of provide a step by step of what do we see in that. It's a fun time.
Yeah,
It's a lot of work, I will say that, but it's
it
definitely a good
is. Yeah.
time. So I are you looking forward to that one? I know I am.
I am too. It's good for those retro cons. I've worked two with you now, I believe, that you just kind of get to talk to the people that love these games. You got to talk to some of the people that have made this a career.
Yep.
It's really interesting.
It's fascinating. And you also get to realize just how wide of a range of a demographic people are into gaming,
Absolutely.
modern
And that's
gaming,
what
but
shocked me.
retro gaming. And you learn really cool things too. I remember the last time that we had one of these conventions, there was like just stuff I hadn't thought about, where there was a mom and her son. He had autism. And she explained to me that the retro games, the older game consoles, are easier for him to play, and they keep his
Absolutely.
attention. And that's why they were there. And I thought to myself, I never, ever thought of that. And I never would have learned that if I hadn't gone to these types of conference and met these kind of people,
Well,
and
and I
interact with
think
them.
that's a really good heartfelt story of he gets to interact with stuff. He gets to build a little pride in the games that he plays.
Exactly. It's really cool. So you get to learn cool stuff like that. So we're excited to share cool stuff like that. But we are running a little bit longer than we normally do, because I'm sorry,
Yeah.
2023 is lit with video games. So it's a big
We had
topic.
tried to cover them all, but we couldn't get them. Yeah.
We did. We'll make sure we have that list in the show notes. Again, like, subscribe. Thank you guys for joining us, being patient. We really appreciate it as we build our brand. We hope you have an
Yeah.
awesome week, and we look forward to seeing you next week with our celebrity guests. Take care.
See ya.